If you've been spending money on Australian Floetrol just to get good sales, this video might save you some cash. Today, I'm testing 3 different cell catalysts under $10, including one that is probably already in your kitchen. And honestly, the first one shocked me. Welcome back to Inktassi, I'm Vanessa, and today is all about cell creation on a budget. I promised 3 different products as cell catalysts, each under $10, and it cannot get more inexpensive than this first one that even surprised me. Plain old water. In order for paint and water to work in creating cells, I need to mix a very thin consistency for the cell catalyst. 1 teaspoon of Amsterdam titanium white and 1 teaspoon of water should do the trick. That's it. You don't need anything else. Mix these 2 ingredients really well, making sure there are no lumps and no leftover paint on your stirrer, and you have an excellent cell catalyst. But how do we make this work? We need the cell catalyst to be thin with no trace and no mound, but with a constant flow. My color is leftover paint. This is Amsterdam Permanent Red Violet, and it has a trace between 1 to 2 seconds. It has been mixed with Liquitex pouring medium and water to thin it out. You can mix your color paint with any pouring medium you have handy, as long as it reaches a slightly thicker consistency than the cell catalyst. I need the color to be thicker so it can hold the cells without causing distortion while stretching. The difference between the consistencies and the densities, since titanium white is heavier than the color, is what will cause the cell or lacing formation. I'm going to bloom so I can show you that you don't need any house paint or Australian Floetrol. Incredible reaction, and honestly nothing to envy Australian Floetrol. Let's stretch this and see if it holds. What do you guys think? I'm really happy to show you this because I know how pricey Australian Floetrol can be. So here you have another option if you want to try creating this effect. We've bloomed and now I'm going to swipe. Let's put this water mix to the ultimate test. I will also overstretch this. I'm adding one more color for extra effect, and you can see this color from Arteza is even thicker than the permanent red violet. After laying my colors, I spread some of this cell catalyst onto a palette knife and glide it over the paint. The reaction is automatic and it works. Now I'm going to overstretch this paint. As you can see, the lacing remains with minimal distortion. Just water and Amsterdam titanium white. Let me know in the comments if you will try this mix. I'd love to hear your feedback. Now it's the turn of the silicones. Not too long ago I tested this artist Loft silicone and was pleased with its performance. Today I wanted to do a side-by-side with a spot-on Treadmill silicone to see if there is a difference. I have 4 different colors here, leftover paints from my Dutch pouring medium test that I'm going to split in 2 so I can load 2 similar cups to flip. I'm going to add 1 drop of spot-on silicone to 3 of the colors, and I'll do the same with the Artist Loft silicone on the other set using the same 3 colors. I'm not overly mixing the silicone into the paint, but I do want to make sure it's incorporated. This is the mix with the spot-on Treadmill silicone. Not a bad reaction. I like some of these, but I'm not too fond of the center cells because they are a bit too big for my taste. So far, none are distorted. Usually, silicone reacts to heat, so a torch or a heat gun will create tons of cells. I don't think I need any more cells here, so I will not be using heat. Now it's the turn of the Artist Loft silicone. Honestly, I cannot tell the difference after spinning the pour. The cells have maintained their shape. To me, this is almost the same reaction. If anything, I have a couple more of huge cells in the center, but they've all held pretty well through the stretching. I don't know, guys, what do you think? Do you see any difference? Because I really don't. Now I'm going to show you another way to create cells with silicone. I'm flipping a cup with thick consistency paint, and next to it I'm preparing a cup with thin consistency paints. For this technique to work, you want lots of layers with color. After stretching my paints, I'm going to take a bit of the spot-on silicone and put it in a cup so I can dip my skewer and poke the paint. Just a little dip into the silicone will go a long way. You'll see the thin consistency paint will open up very fast, while the thicker consistency will take longer. Look at the difference in the cell shapes. A thinner mix will give you some bleeding at the edges, and after stretching, some cells might slightly lose their shape. The thicker consistency will give you rounded, well-defined cells. This one is for sure my favorite. But regardless of which one you prefer, this is an excellent technique to control your composition because you get to decide exactly where you want those cells to pop. I couldn't do this video without mentioning one of my favorite products to create effects in acrylic pours, spray paint. This one is solvent based, and I always use a respirator when dealing with any kind of spray paint, even if it is water based. Krylon can be temperamental. Sometimes it creates a honeycomb-like effect, other times tendrils or paint separation. You need a thin consistency to work with a spray paint so it can break the surface faster. You also need to stretch your paint really well before spraying. If you try to stretch your paint after spraying, your painting will most likely be ruined. Spray paint dries almost immediately after leaving the can and forms a film over the surface. If you stretch it, that film will pull the paint underneath with it. I have stretched this paint to the max and now I'm going to spray it. You don't want to get too close to the paint and move it, and not too far that you barely see a reaction. And this is the really nice effect I get. Not cells per se this time, but a separation within the layers of paint that creates incredible depth. So there you have it, 3 budget-friendly ways to create cells, from plain water to silicone to spray paint. And honestly, some of these compete with products that cost a lot more. If this helped you, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to Intasi for more acrylic pour test, honest product reviews, and technique breakdowns. And let me know in the comments which one was your favorite and what you want me to test next. I wish you all a week full of creativity and blessings. I'll see you in the next one.